This book here made me over 6 figures as a Salesforce developer, and I never really thanked this book enough for helping me to travel, to work not crazy 60 hours per week as I used to live where I want. In this video I want to explain a little bit what this whole book is about and how it can help you to also go and get the 6 figures and way beyond. But the way I discovered this book was really terrible. I was at my first Salesforce job and I was really failing. My boss came to me and I was ready to get fired. And he says to me something like this: Igor, you are failing. You're not performing well. And I'm inside and I'm ready. I'm like, I know. And then he says, but I see a potential in you and I'm gonna help you. But I want you to focus for the next 3 months. And the first thing what I want you to do is to read this book. So I did it. The first thing I went back to my working office. I was completely terrified. My legs were shaking because I thought I'm gonna get fired. But no, I get the chance for the next 3 months. And I go immediately to Amazon. I order this book. It comes within the next couple of days. And I open it. I can even open it here with you together. And the first, here where it starts, it says, it is your life. You own it. You run it. You create it. And this is such a good opening because this is not the way most people live. And this is also not the way I used to live. Many people, they don't have this idea that they have a complete 100% control of their lives and of their careers. I met so many people that said something like this: oh, I am a Salesforce admin. Coding, it was never really for me. Coding is so far away. Oh, coding is, I have no idea. But then those people, when they ask them if they're happy on their job, they say no. Because they have so much meetings. They have bosses that don't care about them. They have the market crushing them, crushing the jobs. They're afraid of getting fired. Right? And then I tell them, okay, so do you want to change it? Become a Salesforce developer. And they say, yeah, but development is for all other people. God damn it, you are in the control of your career. You can do with your career whatever you want. If you are right now working with many meetings, if you're drowning in work, chances are this is just the result of the actions that you took or didn't take. Or everything that you have in your career is the result of those actions. And you really need to understand this. You really need to understand that where you are right now in the career, it's just the result of what you did a couple of months ago or maybe years ago. The next thing that I realized is that no one is coming to save you. And that also comes to you controlling the life, but also that no one is going to help you. I recently, last week, I spoke in Berlin on an event, and there was a guy, and he came to me and he said, oh, I want to become a Salesforce developer, but my employer doesn't pay for the courses. What should I do? And I told him, well, is it about your employer or is it about your career? And there's so many people who do this. Like, oh, I'm gonna learn something new, but only if my company pays for it. Yeah, but what if your company doesn't pay for it? You're not gonna learn anything new? This is your career. Your boss doesn't care about your career. He or she, they only care about buying the next car, how much they're gonna get paid, how cool is their Lamborghini that they're sitting in. They don't care about your career. They only care about maximizing the profits. And if they don't pay for your education, what, are you gonna just get stuck in the education that you have and you're not gonna learn anything new? They don't care. It's gonna be the same for them. But for you it matters. So no matter what, no matter if your employer pays for your courses, no matter if you pay for your courses, if the government pays, here in Germany we have this, just take the responsibility for your own career because no one is coming to save you. If you stop learning in Salesforce world for 5 years, you're gonna end up out of the market. Remember what was 5 years ago on the market? We had process builders, we barely had flows, we had like Einstein AI, which no one was using. But the point is, imagine if someone stopped learning 5 years ago. Where would they be now? They are completely out of market. So if you stop learning right now, you will also be out of market, and no one is coming to save you. So this is your responsibility to take control of your life, of your career, and go and learn something new. And the next thing that is kind of a little bit also to this, it's called in the book, it's called the cat ate my code. And this is such a good analogy, because when I was working in Salesforce, with the Salesforce partners, we had a lot of people that, let's say you messed up. You made a release, it failed, you didn't deliver on time. The errors, they happen all the time. There's no way you can avoid the errors, right? When we are adults, we're working in the real world. There's no way we can avoid any mistakes. They're gonna happen for sure. But the thing is, how do you work with those mistakes? That's the most important. And what this book says to you is that you have to accept that you made a mistake, and don't make lame excuses. Don't say, oh, my cat ate my code, oh, I could not do that, I could not do this. No one cares. What everyone cares is to go and fix the problems. Don't explain your mess ups or other people. Just go and solve them. Be proactive. Suggest some solutions. Go work a little bit extra. Do something about this. But don't just make excuses. No one cares about this. It's way easier to work with people who try to fix stuff instead of making excuses. And that was my big problem back then. The point number 4 is that you need to build your portfolio. For example, the easiest thing you can do is that you calculate how much value did you deliver in your whole career through administration, development, through everything. For example, for me, it's way over $1 million in project value. And when I calculated, I was like, holy wow. I didn't know that I actually delivered that much in projects. And this is, I guess, if you calculate too, it's going to be also a big surprise for you. But this is a good CV point. So you need to know your value. You need to know how much you delivered, because this is usually, it tells a little bit more about the experience of a person versus the actual years of experience, right? Because you can be working some government job for some forgotten whatever institution there, and you can have 5 years of experience on paper, but in reality it's going to be way less, right? Versus someone who have been working in consulting and had like 50 projects in those years, they probably going to have a little bit more experience. So way more telling is to calculate what is your actually, how much you delivered in value, in project value. Usually you know those numbers because you're involved into estimation, right? So you can estimate how many billable hours you worked for someone, and then you can just multiply this by the hour that your company charges, and then you know how much you delivered of value. And also on that, you need to kind of collect different portfolios, right? So you need to create a portfolio, and it needs to be distributed. Right? Of course, you can be known for one certain thing. For example, I'm an expert in LWC or integrations or CPQ. You can be known for those things, but you also need to have a variation of different problem solving, because when you're going to be applying for different jobs or interviewing for different jobs, you will have different people looking at your CV, and different people value different things. For example, an HR manager might not value your side project where you develop some kind of utility for Apex CLI, right? Well, they don't care. They only care about your experience, certifications, and all that. But then the developers that you're going to speak, they're going to care about your CLI side project. So you need to create a portfolio that speaks to 4 main people: HR, management, developers, and 3 people. 3 different people: HR, management, and developers. Those 3 categories you need to tackle in your portfolio, right? So you need to actively working on adjusting your portfolio and making sure that you have projects that you can show for many different ways. And thing number 5 that I learned from this book, is that you need to learn your editor. Crazy thing. Sounds so obvious, but I bet if you are, let's say, 2 years or less into your Salesforce developer career, you don't know your editor that well. And this is what I realized when I was reading this book, is that I don't know how to use VS Code that well. I know how to click buttons there, I know how to use Git, but I have no idea how it works under the hood. I have no idea for shortcuts, I have no idea how to automate certain things. And what I found when I really looked at my coding, how I approach day-to-day tasks, is that I have a lot of repetitive tasks. And I can actually automate them. And I did. And it freed up a lot of time, and I also learned something new, and I got way better at coding. So as crazy as it sounds, you need to just at least watch a couple of videos and read a couple of articles that explain you how your editor works. Trust me, most people don't do that. And this is crazy. So do that. Go and learn at least a little bit how to use your editor that you're freaking using every day. Number 6 thing is that you need to learn how to communicate. And that involves many things. And I think the most important thing here, what is expected from developers in communication, are estimations. You need to learn how to properly estimate stuff. One of those examples is that you can estimate something for the same duration, for the same time unit, but if you just use different words, it's gonna sound differently. For example, the project will take 25 weeks. The project is gonna take 6 months. Same duration of the project, approximately the same, but a completely different perception. So the time units that you usually have are 4. You have hours, you have days, you have weeks, and you have months. And you need to learn how to work with all of those time units. And depending on which one of them you use, you're gonna have a different outcome. You're gonna have a different perception. And that comes to the communication part, right? So you need to be able to communicate properly your ideas, your estimations. Many of those type of things, they're more in the book about this. But my main point is that communication is one of the key principles that developers need to master. As much as it sounds like developers are just there writing the code, no, developers actually, they communicate a lot with people. And Salesforce development, especially because we are more near to the business, right? So you need to be really good at communication. And that means you need to learn how to write. You need to learn how to write, obviously with good grammar, that's given, but also you need to learn how to communicate concise. The whole communication in this world usually happens with text. And that means that you need to understand how to ask questions in the right way, how to make it easier for people to answer the questions. You need to understand how to follow up with people, how to give estimations, how to not to give estimations. If someone asks you, okay, how long it's going to take to deliver a project, what you usually should do is that you should answer, well, let me get back to you. And then actually get back to this person. This is communication one-on-one. But this is what you need to always keep in mind, how you can improve your communication skills. Because I think one of the biggest breakthroughs going to come in your career as Salesforce development when you're going to learn to communicate really well on the job. And the communication is different depending on what company you work, what kind of language you use, and all of this. So it's a little bit different. But you need to actively learn those type of things. The number 7 thing that I learned from there is that your code and your implementation is not done until it's tested by you and the client approved it. Yes, you might have developed an insanely good code, but then it only works on your computer for some reason. Or works in your sandbox, but it doesn't work for the client or it doesn't work in production. And that happens in many different cases, right? It's so frequent that it's basically a meme already. And you need to really keep in mind whenever you're developing something, then when you have it working, everything that you needed to do on your machine or your sandbox in Salesforce, right? It's only part of it. It's gonna come back. It's not done. You're maybe 80% done when you think that you've finished, right? You still need to test it. You still need to write the automatic test. You need to test it manually. You need to test for the edge cases, and you need to deliver it to the client, and then the client is gonna test it. And when the client tests, in more than 50%, it comes back with some kind of adjustments, because this is a continuous process. This is step by step. So then you're gonna have to do all of this type of things again. You have to finish the actual requirements that came back, and you have to test also for them manually and also automatic test, and then you have to deliver to the client back. That's usually where it's actually done, and then the client approves it. But when you, for the first time, you just finish writing code, it is nowhere near done. You still have a long way to go. That also brings me to the point number 8, is that no software is perfect. You're gonna have a lot of technical debt, you're gonna have a lot of bad code, you're gonna have bad design, hopefully not written by you, but no software is gonna be able perfect, and you should not strive to make a perfect software. Maybe you can, yes, you should strive to write a good code, a good design, all of this, but perfect, it means it's never done. And it's better to have something done than have it perfect. So you better deliver something that is not perfect, but good enough, right? Good enough from the UI perspective, good enough from all the perspectives, from the code, from the testing, from the requirements, that is good enough than trying to do it perfect, because you're just gonna run out of time and you're gonna mess up all the deadlines. So this was pretty much the summary of this book, but I recommend you to go and buy it. Actually, I don't care. If you want to earn more money as a Salesforce developer, then go buy this book. If not, then whatever. But what I care about is that you subscribe to my freaking emails, because they're awesome and I'm sending them every single day. So go in the description and actually do that. See you in the next one.